Hello everyone, Weather Jamaica here. Welcome to this updated video on weather across Jamaica and the rest of the Caribbean. It is Wednesday evening, January 15, 2025. Now before we jump into it, please ensure that you guys like the video. I'd really appreciate it if you guys get this video up to 100 likes. If you don't know by now, that's how the YouTube algorithm works. We all like the video and then the YouTube algorithm pushes the video out to more persons who are in the path of these tropical systems so that we can keep everyone safe, especially during the peak months of Atlantic hurricane season. That's August through to October. Share this video with your friends, your co-workers, your relatives, and even your church brethren, and subscribe if you haven't yet done so. Please ensure that you guys utilize the progress bar that's located at the bottom of the video, as well as the timestamps that are located not only in the comment section but the video description, so that you can skip to the points in the video that you want to see the most in order to save time, because we know that the videos over here with the Jamaica can be very long. Leave a comment down below letting me know what the has been like in your year recently. Also feel free to ask any weather related question that you might have about the future of the weather in your specific area. Alright, so we're going to be looking at what the next 7 days have in store for us according to the latest Euro model that came out at 3:30 p.m. today, as well as the latest GFS model that came out at 6 p.m. today. So keep your eyes focused right here at the timestamp at the top as we go to the next 168 hours, and keep your eyes focused on Jamaica right here as we look for all of this that we see on the key on the right. That's the reds, oranges, yellows, and the greens that represents inches of rainfall. So we can see that as we head into Thursday, there's going to be some isolated showers across the northern portion of the island according to this latest one of the GFS. Heading into Friday, still see some isolated showers on the north coast for sure. What's expected on Saturday though, we see more whites than anything else. That represents little to no rainfall. We also see some showers across section of the southeastern US, the southwestern Caribbean, the waters to the south of Hispaniola into the leeward island. Heading into Sunday, we see some moisture across eastern Jamaica, some moisture across Florida into the Gulf of Mexico, moisture across the eastern, central, western Caribbean. Monday, we see some moisture to the south of Jamaica, right here between the Yucatan and western Cuba, the eastern Caribbean right there. And even on Tuesday, we see even more moisture, especially across the northern Gulf, the western Gulf, the waters to the south of Jamaica, the waters to the north of Puerto Rico. And we're going to be stopping it right here at the end of the 168 hours. So this is valid for Wednesday, January 22. And we see a lot of moisture to the east of the US. We see some moisture across the Gulf of Mexico, sections of the waters to the south of Jamaica into Central America. Let us see what the latest GFS model is showing for the same time period. So we can see that as we head into Thursday, not seeing much in the way for rainfall across northern Jamaica like what the Euro model was showing. We do see some moisture right here across the eastern Gulf, the waters of the southern and eastern Caribbean though. Heading into Friday, we see some moisture across northern parishes just like what the Euro was showing. We also see some moisture across the southwestern Caribbean, the southern and eastern Caribbean as well. Heading into Saturday, not much change, definitely across the Caribbean from the southwest to the eastern Caribbean. Sunday, not seeing much of anything across Jamaica at all. Monday, look at this, we see some moisture across the southern Gulf, the southeastern Gulf, the western Caribbean, the southwestern Caribbean, the southern and eastern Caribbean. Tuesday, we see a lot of moisture across the western Caribbean, the southwestern Caribbean, the western Gulf, eastern Jamaica, section of central and eastern portion of the Caribbean. And we're going to be stopping it right here at the end of the 168 hours. And we see something similar to what the Euro was showing. We see a lot of moisture at the east coast of the US, definitely closer to the Bahamas than what the Euro had showing for the same day, Wednesday, January 22. We also see an abundance of moisture across the western Caribbean into Central America right here. Didn't see much of that on the Euro. Very interesting forecast. We'll see exactly what happens. Either way, in terms of the accumulated precipitation forecast, we know that the most in the way of rainfall as represented by what we see here on the key on the right. We're talking about the reds into the burgundies, the purples into the pinks, and even into the peaches that are represented from 1 all the way up to 8 inches of rainfall. And we can see that over the next 7 days from now up until January 22, 2025, we're going to be seeing the most rainfall across the southeastern Gulf into the Yucatan Peninsula, western Cuba, section of Nicaragua, Costa Rica, Panama, Colombia, Western Venezuela, the ABC Islands, Northern Venezuela, into portion of the Eastern Caribbean right there. And it's not only the Euro model that's showing something similar, but even the GFS model is showing a lot of that too. Look at that. The GFS is more robust with the rainfall totals for Belize, Guatemala, even section of Trinidad and Tobago going to be picking up a lot of rainfall according to this latest forecast maps. We'll see exactly what unfolds. Either way, in terms of Jamaica's forecast, we see that there's not much change. Both accumulated precipitation forecast maps are showing those blues into the greens, represents anywhere from 1 millimeter of rainfall all the way up to maybe 30 millimeters of rainfall. We see all the way up to 31 millimeters of rainfall across Portland in the greens, spilling into section of eastern St. Thomas. We also see a lot of that across St. Anne, St. Mary. Even the GFS is showing something similar with the same spots, but definitely less than what the Euro was showing, up to at least 17 millimeters right here across eastern Portland and eastern St. Thomas. And whatever occurs, I'll definitely be here to keep you posted on our other social media platforms. Taking a look at the surface map of the Atlantic for this evening, we have a ridge of high pressure right here across the eastern US. We have another ridge of high pressure right here to the northwest of Africa. And we know they're responsible for sending all of the easterly trade winds across the main development region into the Caribbean. We see a frontal system right here stretching from the southeastern US all the way up into the northern portion of North Atlantic. Another frontal system to the east and southeast of it, reaching all the way down to the Bahamas and portions of Cuba. And to the southeast of that, we have some broken orange lines right here associated with the trough, stretching all the way down into the Leeward Islands and into the southern Caribbean. And if we take a look at the visible satellite images of the Atlantic before the sun went down, we can make out all of these entities that we just mentioned. The clouds associated with the frontal system right here, and the other frontal system to the southeast of that into the Bahamas and Cuba. And we can make out the clouds associated with that trough. And definitely see it right here pushing from east-west across the waters of the Caribbean. We'll be talking more about the rest of the Caribbean weather later on. Let us focus our attention on the prediction that was made in yesterday's video about the weather across Jamaica for today, Tuesday, January 14. Well, Wednesday, January 15, 2025. If you remember yesterday's video, we highlighted that if anything would have happened, it would be according to what the Euro was showing for especially northern parishes. And we know northern parishes, we're talking about Hanover, St. James, Trelawney, St. Anne, St. Mary, Portland. And what ended up happening? As early as around 8:56 a.m., the visible satellite images were posted not only here on our Twitter page with the Jamaica, but on our Instagram page with the Jamaica, on our TikTok page with the Jamaica, and on our Facebook page with the Jamaica 876. So if you have one of those social media platforms, please ensure that you follow us there as we make posts throughout the day that you can't afford to miss. So we can see that northeasterly flow that was being experienced across the island this morning definitely bring some overcast skies, if not some isolated showers, to section of northern Jamaica, anywhere from Portland westward, St. Mary, St. Anne, Trelawney, St. James, section of Hanover, definitely got in on some of the overcast skies. And even during the afternoon, all the way up to sunset, and when we started to lose the sunshine, we're still getting on the overcast skies, if not some isolated showers across St. Anne, St. Mary, Portland. Some of these clouds even were building across sections of St. Elizabeth. But we can see that by the time we're losing the sunlight, it was definitely clearing out. And the infrared close-up satellite images confirm this. We don't see any cumulonimbus clouds, no high cold cloud tops, no blues, greens, yellows, oranges, reds, nothing of that nature. Just basically some low-level patches of cloud. And if we take a look at See Jamaica's YouTube channel, from about 4:31 p.m., we can see the sun glistening off of the sea right here to the south of the Kingston Wharf. We can see people in their vehicles right here to the north of the National Stadium going about their business. Definitely windy, as we can see the trees moving by. Definitely sunny for the most part as well. Not much in the way of bad weather at all today. And we definitely have confirmation from the Caribbean Institute for Meteorology and Hydrology website showing where we had the rainfall today, especially across the northern parishes. We see the shaded slight purples, especially across Portland, St. Anne, St. Mary for sure. And We have at least one comment here from one of our followers on our Twitter page of Tanny Brown stating, looks a bit overcast on a Rick's Cafe Negril webcam this morning, just to confirm what the weather was like over there. Thank you very much for confirming that for us, Miss Brown. Really appreciate it. Taking a look at the latest still image from the Weather Nerd website. Showing what the weather is like right now. We can see that the latest time is as of 0025 UTC, which is actually 7:25 p.m. So this just came out 10 minutes ago, considering that it's 7:35 p.m. right now. And we can see some patches of low-level clouds right here to the southwest of Jamaica. Not much in the way of rainfall at all occurring out of these clouds. And, excuse me, if we take a look at the latest Cuban Doppler radar images, just to confirm what's happening right now, we can see that there's not much of anything in terms of rainfall taking place across the island as we speak. If you see those colors, the greens, yellows, oranges, reds, that's representing ground clutter. That's not much in the way of rainfall at all. That's just a glitch on the Cuban Doppler radar. Taking a look at the Guantanamo Bay Cuban Naval Radar imagery, not seeing much in the way of rainfall across eastern Cuba, northeastern Jamaica, or western Haiti. Even on the Cayman radar, not seeing much across southern Cuba, western Jamaica, but we do see some isolated shores to the north of the Cayman Islands, right there in the blues and the greens. Maybe some light to moderate rainfall at most. If we take a look at the live camera from See Jamaica's YouTube channel showing crossroads, we can see people walking about, going about their business. We can see people in their vehicles going about their business. Definitely a dry night tonight. That's expected. Definitely fear. It's the dry season. It is expected. And I'd like for you to keep in mind that if you'd like to see more live streams like this, just visit See Jamaica on YouTube. They have these live streams for your viewing pleasure. And they are planning on increasing the amount of cameras that they have in and around the island. So subscribe today so that you don't miss out. Taking a look at the temperature forecast for tonight, we can, well, right now, we can see that it's about 24 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 25 degrees Celsius in Kingston. Could be hotter than that, could be lower than that in some spots. Well, yeah. But let's take a look at what the temperature is going to be like for about 4 a.m. on Thursday. It's going to be all the way down. If it's going to show for me, is it going to show? Alright, it's not going to show. So let's get it all the way down to 4 a.m. on Thursday. It should be around 23 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay and 23 degrees Celsius in Kingston. Taking a look at the temperature forecast for tomorrow. This map from the GFS is valid for 18 on Thursday, which is actually 1 p.m. on Thursday, and we can see Jamaica right here, embedded in some oranges, some slight oranges, represent maybe up to 2 degrees Celsius above normal temperatures, like what we're seeing here on the key on the right. We see a lot of cooler than average temperatures, however, across the southeastern US to the north of the Greater Antilles, section of Cuba, the Bahamas, and northern Hispaniola. Definitely getting in on those below average temperatures for sure. Also, southern portion of the US into Mexico. And we know the average temperatures for the month of January across Jamaica are around 86.5 degrees Fahrenheit. And when that's converted to degrees Celsius, that's around 30.2 degrees Celsius. So it should be receiving anywhere from 30 to 32 degrees Celsius at most for Jamaica's temperature on Thursday. And unfortunately, we have a lot of maintenance outage advisories for Thursday, January 16, 2025 for a section of the island. And we definitely have to highlight these because you know that when we have power outages across the area, we can have, you know, the heat being exacerbated. We don't have our fan or AC to cool us down. So it's a good thing to highlight these. So for Tanglewood and Liberty, that's in the parish of St. Anne, we have maintenance outages by my JPS, well, JPS in general, from 9:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. We also have Bunkers Hill to Dromedary, as well as Dumfries to Adelphi in Trelawney from 9:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. We have Stanton Terrace from Hope Road, Roosevelt Avenue, Cunningham Avenue, Latham Avenue in St. Andrew, 9:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. We have Enfield District, as well as Pear Tree Grove, Richmond Hill in St. Mary from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. as well as Cadiz Avenue, section of Havendale, Meadowbrook Avenue, Border Avenue, Chancery Hall, Macon Terrace, Belgrade from 9:30 a.m. to 2 p.m. and the other one from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. We even have right here Bonito Crescent, Confidence Avenue in Manchester from 9:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. as well as Spring Park, Black River in St. Elizabeth from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. So if you live or work in those areas, or if you have friends or relatives who live or work in those areas, let them know that a power outage is coming their way. Taking a look at the tips to beat the heat right here, we know that we have to try our best to beat the heat. We live in a tropical country. We don't want to get any heat related illnesses at all. Either way, it states here, dress down, wear lightweight clothing and use sunscreen. Check on others, including children, elderly people with medical conditions, and pets. Be cool, stay indoors, and make use of fans and air conditioners. Avoid alcohol and caffeine as they can make dehydration worse. Limit non-essential strenuous activity during the hottest part of the day. I cannot stress enough the importance of staying hydrated. Drink lots of water throughout the day. Put away the sugar drinks. Drink water instead. And we see that the dry air map is in not letting up at all. We know the dry air is represented by what we see here on the key on the bottom. That's yellows, oranges, reds, and whites within those reds. And we see that there's a lot of dry air stretching all the way from Africa across the Caribbean into the Gulf of Mexico. And we see the most dry air is right here off the coast of Africa. Lots of dry air in general. We know the dry air prohibits the amount of moisture in the atmosphere, definitely making it harder for it to rain. And we're indeed grateful, however, that we don't have much in the way of Saharan dust. This is the Saharan dust forecast for 2 p.m. on Thursday, and we can definitely make out the slight light shades of browns across portions of the main development region. We're indeed grateful that North America, the Central America area, the Bahamas, the Caribbean, and Northern South America are in the clear, because know that the Saharan dust, especially if we get that vigorous plume with the dark shades of browns, and definitely cause very hazy skies, not to mention trigger some most respiratory illnesses in some people. So we're glad that the Saharan dust is chilling for the time being. Taking a look at the wave forecast for tomorrow, we see more of those mixtures of light shades of blues to dark shades of blues. That represents anywhere from 0.5 meter wave height all the way up to 1.5 meter wave height. On the north coast tomorrow, up to 1.1 meter wave height. On the south coast, up to 1.4, and that's because of the winds that are going to be expected. We see clearly that we're going to be having more of a northeasterly flow across the Caribbean in general. A mixture of those dull greens to yellows, representing anywhere from 5 to 10 to 15 all the way 25 knots, especially to the south of Hispaniola right here. That's where the waves are going to be highest too, with all of the purples. So it makes sense. We see it right there. But regarding Jamaica's forecast, we still see that we're going to be getting in on that northeasterly kind of flow across the island, especially to the east of the island. We see the strongest winds, the brightest greens, and the slight yellows. We also see that the least amount of wind should be across the southern parishes, so the heat is definitely going to be felt the most across southern Jamaica. Anywhere from St. Thomas westward, Kingston, St. Andrews, St. Catherine, Clarendon, Manchester, St. Elizabeth, Westmoreland for sure. If we had more moist air, definitely would have had some daytime heating, bringing some isolated afternoon showers to section of southern Jamaica. But boy, not these days at all. If anything, just some strong winds from the northeast, and then we have more condensation, more clouds forming, more isolated showers on the north coast. That's basically it, especially during the morning hours. And we see that the upper level flow is starting to come back with that southwesterly kind of pattern right here across the island, but it's not that strong at all. We see more whites across the Caribbean than anything else. Taking a look at the rainfall forecast for tomorrow, this map from the GFS, well, this map from the Euro and this map from the GFS are both showing 9 a.m. on Thursday, and we see that the Euro has been actually right for the past couple of days. The Euro has been showing some blues represent isolated shores from northern Jamaica. Not really sure if it's actually raining up there. We don't have anyone to confirm for us, but we do see the clouds, and sometimes it's good to deduce that it might be raining up there for real, especially considering that we see the clouds. We saw the clouds today, and we could only argue that there might have been some isolated shores underneath all of that, especially across Portland. So we'll see what happens tomorrow. Either way, the Euro is still adamant that more of this is expected. GFS not so much. We'll see which one of them wins for 9 a.m. I'll definitely keep you posted with what occurs. By 4 p.m., however, we start to see a bit of consensus The Euro is still showing some dots of blues across the northeast. St. Ann, St. Mary, Portland represents isolated shores. The JFS starting to come on board with some isolated shores across Portland, as well as out to sea to the northeast of St. Mary. Either way, in terms of the accumulated precipitation forecast for the next 24 hours from the Euro and the GFS models, we see that from now up until 10 p.m. on Thursday, it should be raining across the northeast for sure, according to the Euro, going all the way up to 0.16 of an inch of rainfall. The Euro definitely, well, the GFS definitely more reserved, all the way up to 0.06 of an inch of rainfall across Portland. Either way, it's expected. Tis the season for little to no rainfall across especially southern Jamaica. In Kingston's bar graph is being shown right here at the top. We usually receive up to 20 millimeters of rainfall. In Montego Bay's bar graph is being shown right here at the bottom. We usually receive up to 3 inches of rainfall. And I'd like for you to keep in mind that if you'd like to find out what your specific parish usually receives for the month of January or for the entire year in terms of rainfall, you can visit weatherandclimate.com, and that website will show you that information. And you can use this nice little graphic right here that converts the rainfall from inches to millimeters that receive on the rain gauge. You know that 1 inch of rainfall is about the same as 25 millimeters of rainfall. Taking a look at the rest of the Caribbean. So as stated, we have a frontal system bringing some overcast skies and showers to section of the Bahamas, section of the Turks and Caicos starting to get in on the action as we speak. So to section of Cuba, we also see some clouds across sections of Florida associated with that other frontal system. The clouds stretching from the Leeward Islands all the way down to the southern Caribbean associated with that trough. Unfortunately, we don't have the northeastern Caribbean's Doppler radar imagery to show, but if we take a look at the wide wave Doppler radar images, we can make out some rainfall coming in from the west into portion of western Florida. We don't see much happening across the waters to the east of Nicaragua, but we do see some isolated shores across sections of Guatemala, section of Belize, the waters to the north of the ABC Islands. We don't see much happening on the Leeward Islands radar or in and around Puerto Rico, but we definitely see some action in and around Barbados. And if we take a look, let's find the Barbados radar. Let's see what's happening over there. Alright, here we go. So we do see some isolated shores coming in from the east northeast, passing to the west and pushing towards Martinique, St. Lucia. Some of this right here to the east of the Grenadines might get in to section of the Grenadines later on tonight into tomorrow. We also see a lot of moisture right here to the east northeast of Tobago, heading towards Tobago. Some of this might just spill into section of Trinidad as well. If you take a look at where the rainfall is expected in the next 24 hours, both maps from the Euro and the GFS are both showing all the rain that's expected from now up until 10 p.m. on Thursday, and we can clearly see that the most rainfall is represented by all of the yellows, oranges, reds, and there's consensus for the most rainfall over the next 24 hours to be right here between the Yucatan Peninsula and Cuba, especially across the waters of the Gulf of Mexico, southeastern Nicaragua, Costa Rica, Panama, sections of western, northern, and section of Colombia, western Venezuela, northern Venezuela for sure, the waters to the north of the ABC Islands. We also see some isolated shores across section of the eastern Caribbean too, and even portion of eastern Cuba, northern Hispaniola, eastern Puerto Rico getting in on some of the action. And we see that both the Euro and the GFS models are in consensus with this forecast. I know that when they're in consensus like this, the chances of it actually happening are much higher. Alright, so that's it for today. Thanks for watching.